Hi, good afternoon, students. Welcome back to Crearting with Mrs. Rich. I'm so happy to be with you. Hope you're all doing great. Yesterday we had the fun of sculpting our three-dimensional shapes. I hope you got yours done. You can find clay at Walmart, at Michael's, anywhere they have just air dry clay. So it's really a fun material to use. These will dry hard. They're already getting there. But today we're going to talk about drawing three-dimensional shapes. Now, as you can see, I've got my 3D shapes here that you can look at to draw from. But I love finding things in nature that you can draw. Right here I have a cup of, let's see, how can I show these? These are called Moki marbles. And we gather these when we go hiking all around southern Utah. These are formed by little pieces of sandstone that are formed by erosion, and as the rock erodes away, these are like little warts. You may have seen them on the petrified dunes in Snow Canyon, or anywhere you hike on Red Rock, you can often see these guys forming, and they might even look like a little mushroom coming up. Well, eventually, with rain and water rushing by, they break off, and then they roll down, and they form these perfect little marbles. But these are made out of sandstone. I'm keeping these inside a shell that I found on the beach in California. And I mean, to draw a shell, look at the inside of this beauty. There's incredible things that we can find in nature to just pick up and draw. Oh, and there's a little heart rock. When you're out hiking, look for rocks that are shaped like this. It's amazing. You think, oh, I'm sure there are heart rocks. No, they are everywhere, and in all different shapes of hearts and sizes. Some might be long and narrow, others like this, kind of a little squatty heart. But yeah, this is just a rock that I found on one of my hikes. So keep your eyes open in nature. I also love to try to find letters of the alphabet created by a tree branch, or maybe moss growing in the shape of an O, or let's see, what else might you find in nature? Think about it, that you could draw and find a letter of the alphabet. Here's another beautiful shell. Looking inside, you can see that pattern that continues in a spiral inside the shell. So I encourage you to look for 3D shapes in nature to draw, because it's just one of my favorite things to do. This is a drawing I did, speaking of 3D shapes. It's actually a piece of art created. I went to a workshop where I learned how to splatter the background. This is actually about 4 layers of color done with acrylic paint over a heavyweight paper. Here's what the back looks like, kind of a mess, because we made a big mess doing it at my workshop. But then we had the layers of color, and then I was looking at, what are these? Something I love to draw, and I've drawn with you guys, and something we've created like little folk art characters out of, and these are gourds. I know you've drawn gourds with me almost every fall, and then some of you have taken them and turned them into things. But anyway, these are kind of large gourds that the teacher had setting out on a table, and then I kind of scratched the image into the surface using some sandpaper. So it was really fun for me to get to sit and draw, and I love to try to find the depth, find the light. Up here's the light, and then the shadow, and where I always look for, where is it the darkest? There was the darkest shadow there, and we call this the cast shadow, which is the shadow that's cast off of the object. So when you're working with light and shadow like we're going to be doing today, it's nice to see on this dried stem how you can see the little spots of white that just make it pop. And then finding the darkest spot right here where it comes into the gourd. And then down here again, this gourd stem. So anyway, this was a piece that I did at my art teacher workshop I go to, and I really like it. I'm going to get this one framed. That one's ready to go on the wall. The colors look a little better when you see it from a bit of a distance. So Leonardo da Vinci used to do this. He'd prep his paper canvas, not paper, canvas, with layers and layers of color, and then he'd kind of work into that color as it was his base coat. So today we're using these three-dimensional shapes to start looking at where light and shadow falls and trying to figure out how we can direct our drawing to look more three-dimensional. So I'm going to set these guys down here in front of me. This is my challenge, is trying to get things where I can still reach my computer to get the screen right and be ready to draw. I'm going to come right back.